Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous, and we are in my new video studio. This is our first time filming in here, so we are going to be showing you how I'm folding all the quilts to fit in the drawers behind me, and we're also using this as a test for our lighting system to see if I need to switch it up and get anything different. So there are probably going to be some tweaks as we start filming in this space, but it's really exciting to be in here. All right, so here we are. I'm going to fold this quilt, and right now this is how my husband folds it, not the way I want it to be folded. One quick disclaimer: if you're trying to fold something to preserve it, this is not the way. There are very special ways to do that if you have an heirloom quilt that you want to make sure stays good for generations and generations. But if you want to fold your quilts to go on your shelf, you can absolutely do this. Just make sure to take them off and refold them about once a year or so that way you have different fold lines and the fabric is wearing a little bit differently. All right, so I'm gonna start by unfolding this quilt, and I can actually stand up in this space and you can see. So what I typically like to do is fold it along the length. So this is the top and bottom are now meeting. So I'm gonna get those guys right sides together and I'm gonna match up my corners. Now I've got my really large cutting mat here. This is a 24 by 36. It helps me be able to fold to fit into my space. I need to get this to 11 inches deep by 31 inches wide, and then it will fit on that shelf perfectly. So you wanna measure the interior of your shelf when you're deciding how to do it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is find the center of my quilt, which is right here. Now half of 31 is 15 and a half. So I'm gonna center that over the 15 and a half inch mark on my mat. Now I'm going to take and fold this into thirds. So I'm going to start and fold into the 0 inch mark on this side. Make sure to keep those corners and tops nice and straight. And then smooth it down, going down those edges. Now I'm going to do the same thing over at 31. All right, now I'm going to give everything a turn and have my binding edges over even with my 0 inch mark. And I do that for like every single quilt I do. First I get it to the width, so in this case 31 inches for my shelf, and now I'm going to get it to the depth that it needs to be. So what I like to do, because it takes up a little bit of space when you fold it over, is I'm going to fold it over to the 10 inch mark. That'll give me a little bit extra wiggle room when I am doing this later. And then I'm going to take my other side. In this case it folds right over, but sometimes I'll have to tuck a little under as well. And then this edge is just not as neat looking. So what I like to do is flip it over, and then this is the edge that will go out and fit in my shelf. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on there. Let's see, where should you go? How about right here? That fits just perfect. I'm going to do it on a little bit bigger quilt so you can see that in action as well. All right, so this one was already kind of folded in quarters. So I'm going to go ahead and unfold it and again get that center on the 15. All right, I'm going to bring it in again. And now I'm going to bring it in to 31 on this side. So now I'm going to give it a turn. All right, so this one goes way off to the side. So we're going to start again by pulling into the 10. Give myself a little bit extra room because it always just takes up a little bit of space with that fold. Now what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to bring it into 33. Because then I know that I'll be able to get that in where it should be once I fold this over on itself. I like to give it a turn here. And then I'm going to fold this over and meet my folded edges and smooth that out. And you really want to make sure that everything is very nice and smooth at this step, because this is going to sit on your shelf for a while, and especially when you got a lot of layers like you do on a quilt like this one, you don't want any extra wrinkles if you can avoid it. All right, I'm going to put this with the rest of my shell rummel fabrics, and then I'm going to go put all my other quilts in here. I folded more than 50 quilts today. I'll do a final count of how many quilts are on these shelves when I'm done here. So that's it. It's a nice quick video. Basically you need to know the measurement of your shelf and then you need to fold your quilt in half. I go from top to bottom, and then I fold it in thirds in order to get the width of my shelf, and then I fold it again in order to get the depth of the shelf. So in this case, 11 by 31. So I'm gonna go put this in and fill up these shelves. Well, I've got all the quilts that I have folded out. I've also got some space for some bags and fun things. And this is not all the quilts. So there are 74 quilts behind me and to the side. And that's not all. Some of them were made by my staff for things like when we did a bunch of our quilt patterns up in K Facet, and those traveled around the country, which was pretty cool. But I've made most of these, and there are patterns available for every single one. That's a lot of patterns. So that's a tremendous amount of work. Also, it is super dark outside right now because it's, you know, winter, and you can still see everything behind me, which is fabulous. We could not do that in our old studio. I think we still will be doing some tweaks with lighting. We'll see how this all shakes out. And my dog is eating a paper towel roll over on the side. We have a shop dog, a basset hound named Jelly Roll. She's adorable. But anyway, so here's the new studio. It's not totally done. I'm going to put our next Stash with Stephanie line back there when I do our next video, and that'll be our spot where we can feature things that we're working on. So should be fun, should be cute. I'm excited to have all the quilts on display and be in this space. So here's to 2021 and new spaces and new times, and hopefully everything will be a heck of a lot better. So until next time, happy quilting.